Leo, welcome back. We are looking at blocks in love, relationship blocks. Some of you might be in a relationship, some of you are probably single, and there's a placement out here just for you, Leo. So if you are single and you're wanting to get an idea of maybe what could be standing in the way, if anything at all, stay on. And then also, again, if you're dealing with someone, there may be some messages here for you as well. This is a general reading. This will not resonate with every person. It's not intended to resonate with every Gemini. This is for people who are working through something and they know that they're looking for messages, support. That's who this message is for. If you know that you are in a harmonious, loving relationship, I would encourage you to go ahead and keep on scrolling. I'll check on you next week, check in to see maybe if there's a message for you. But if that is you, these messages likely will not be for you, Leo. Okay, welcome. So I have a placement out here for the connection. So for those of you where you are in a connection with someone, I'm going to go ahead and start there in terms of what the blocks are for this particular connection. So the first card that came out is the Lovers. This is Gemini, and it also relates to harmony and balance, a divine decision that feels free and easy and clear and stable, a light, free energy. Okay, so that is the Lovers out here. As it relates to this reading, in terms of a love block, there's something happening in this connection where someone is, one of the things is they're not wanting to fully commit to the connection. There's something about commitment in this connection, and I don't feel like it's you. I feel like it's this other person, Leo. I keep getting the zodiac sign Gemini in my mind. I know that this is a Gemini card, but I don't know if, Leo, maybe you're dealing with someone who identifies as Gemini, but it keeps popping up in my mind. So I'm not sure what that is. You know, you take that how it resonates, but this person's not fully committing to this connection because it's something about the connection and being in a committed monogamous relationship for this other person who possibly is a Gemini. Doesn't have to be. That's just what's popping up in my mind. Okay, we're not limited to that. It feels like there's something about commitment that does not feel good to them. That's something that does not give them this feeling of being free. And I'll come over to this other person in a bit, but this person really, their blocks related to who they are, maybe childhood stuff, is all related to feeling controlled. This person does not like feeling controlled at all. And it's not, Leo, what you are intending to do. It's just something about the nature of being committed, honest, monogamous. It's just you and I that this person has an issue with. So more about this relationship connection. I have the Death out here in reverse. Then I have the Ace of Swords out here upright, and then I also have the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is very interesting, and I love when this happens in a reading because it helps me to understand who is who and to divide the energy so I'm not confusing your energy for theirs and vice versa. So I'll come over to your cards in a moment, but you also have the Wheel of Fortune on your side. And then for this other person, they have the Ace of Swords. Okay, so in this connection, you all have these different dynamics to who you are. In a relationship, we often come together because we're trying to be puzzle pieces for each other. And so in this connection, you know, you having this aspect of you of, you know, fire, good luck, good fortune, you're wanting things to move forward and move on. This person is something about freedom, wanting to be clear. It has to make sense for them. They're in their mind about it. And with those two energies coming together, it hasn't been exactly clear about how to move forward. This is a standstill energy. When the Death card pops out in reverse, we're not able to coalesce these energies, mend these energies together, and create something that can take us further and further on. So that is the weight of this block. That is really what you are feeling, Leo, in this connection. That's the challenge. With how you all are going right now, okay, this other person really is wanting to feel a sense of freedom. The Fool is out here. This wanting to just be free and not have a whole lot of structure in the connection. And it might not be that they want to date you and other people. It might not be that they're wanting to just, it feels like it's more about wanting to, it's something about the structure of it. I think that there is a commitment to routine. There's a commitment to checking in. There's a commitment to listening, to being emotionally available, to being maybe a provider, or a provider of being a parent in this connection, serving in some way that feels like for this other person that feels intimidating for them. And so by going on like this, there's a high potential for you all to not be able to move forward together, okay, based off of what's happening right now with this vibe, with this energy that you all are working through. Because it's just, it's almost like, how do you stay in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to be committed to one? You can. It's like trying to trap a free flying bird outside with a cage. It doesn't matter. They're going to move on and do what they want to do. You can say that you own the bird, but the bird is gone. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but that's what's coming up in my mind. There's this element of wanting to be free to do whatever, and someone seeing you in this connection as someone who might in some way represent a closure to freedom. So another card that popped out is the Hanged Man. And so the Hanged Man is that it feels like for you, Leo, you're very clear about what you want. It's like, this is my standard, I'm not budging. And it also feels like this other person is like that too, which is causing this feeling of this standstill, because they know what they want, you know what you want, and so we're just going to be like this until what? It's like that, like a showdown, standoff type of deal. And again, looking at what this future situation can look like if you all keep rolling like this, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be feeling loss. It's going to feel like feeling rejection as you all are rolling with this love block, passive energy. We have this problem between us, but there are other things we like about each other. So we'll just keep watching movies and hanging out and enjoying each other, but that's it, right? It just kind of feels like you kind of stand still. There's a problem here, but no one's going to really address it. So it feels like with the High Priestess out here, it's all about having the confidence and the audaciousness to address this. What is this reason as to why we are allowing ourselves to be in a connection that we know we're not able to really serve each other's higher purpose and higher good out here, because we're feeling all of this lack. These are no cards in the tarot for me, and so it just doesn't feel like, with how you all are going right now, for those of you in a connection with this love block, there's going to be a lot of potential here. Something would have to be reconciled with this block. And then I come on over to you, my lovely Leo, and I got some cards out here. So I've been saying this in my readings, I'm not an expert on love. Trying to be an expert on life, honey, and have some work to do. I've learned a lot. I've been through some stuff, but I'm hopeful for life. There's still a lot to learn, right? I'm still on the earth plane for a reason. This is the earth school. I'm sharing that with you, Leo, because I never for a moment want you to think that I think I'm some kind of expert on this. I don't think that at all. And I want to let you know that with the messages that are coming from these cards, I'm holding you tenderly. And anything that I share, it's not because I know better. It's not because it's just the messages that are coming through. But I want to be intentional with how I communicate this with you, Leo, especially since we're talking about blocks. Sometimes deep stuff comes up. I also want you, Leo, to take care of yourself too as you're hearing some of these messages, because some of them might resonate really deeply. So take care of yourself. If it's too much, you don't have to continue forcing yourself to watch something if it's just too much to kind of work through. Because for you, a lot of the block that you're working through is related to childhood stuff, okay? The first card that popped out is Inner Child, okay? That's the first oracle card that popped out. Something that happened with you when you were a beautiful kiddo, possibly between the ages of 0 and 8 years of age, but maybe between the ages of 7 and 9 is what's coming up. And then self-esteem, okay? Whatever situations you were working through as a beautiful kiddo, Leo, a young, beautiful child, um, whatever happened around that time, it had an impact on your sense of self. What just came through is there's someone here where it has to do with a parent's divorce. And I'll get into some cards in just a moment, but it also feels like it's related specifically to the mother in this family dynamic in childhood. But it had an impact on your self-esteem. And the self-esteem card says, I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. That's the way that Spirit wants you to recognize this, so that you can turn around that energy, so that this is working for you. As of right now, the block on your end that's causing you to show up in the connection the way that you are is related to this self-esteem challenge, because of something that likely is being rectified or hasn't been fully rectified from your childhood, okay? So the Wheel of Fortune I shared with you earlier popped out on your end. This is the first card that popped out in terms of what the block is. So the Wheel of Fortune is about divine timing, good luck, good fortune. And I confirmed this energy and got the Ten of Wands as well as the Queen of Swords out here. So what this feels like to me in this reading, related to mother wounds and the things that you are still working through when you were a child, it's showing up in your relationships now, is that you want your relationship life, your love life, your marriage to look different from what you saw growing up. It's almost like, Leo, you're going to prove and you're going to show that this could work, but it could be happening at your detriment a bit, because if this person, you know, that you're dealing with, or maybe in the past, because I know I'm speaking to someone who might be single too, for those of you who are dealing with someone in this connection, there's this person who does not want to be fully committed to a connection. But then with you, it kind of feels like there's this piece where you would be almost willing to accept that, as long as they'd be willing to maybe show up in marriage or give you at least partial of what it is that you're looking for. This is not for all of you. This is very specific. And so it's a heavy load. It's carrying a lot of weight on your shoulders to make a relationship work, even if the person is not doing their part. So relationships have been hard because it's almost like herding the cats. You know, this is how it needs to be, and almost needing to convince someone else that they want what you want too. But in love, that's not how that works. What I don't see out here is the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups, you know, shows that there's a connection or a relationship that can be equally advantageous, where you don't have to burden yourself or be guarded or feel like you have to use, you know, strong, piercing words to command someone to show up as your partner. They do it because they want to do it. And it feels like that's not exactly what you all are on the same page about at this particular time, okay? So again, you know, more about where this is coming from related to the childhood challenges that you went through. You really want to be successful in love. You really want to, you know, follow through with a dream, maybe a childhood dream that I'm going to grow up and I'm going to do this differently. My love is going to look differently. My relationships are going to work out. You just watch and see, and really standing in that strong. And what that has looked like is some losses, you know, maybe losses of finances, you know, maybe there has been a divorce in the past. It's been really trying to push through, but it's been a turbulent time. In your connection, for those of you who are connecting with someone, this represents the connection. There has possibly been times where you all are together, you're separated, live together, you don't. It's been a rocky road, and looking at the future is like, is this thing really growing or not? I can't tell if we're getting better or if we're getting worse. So that's like a challenge in terms of the block, is looking over what has grown from the connection and being willing to accept that this has been a successful thing for you or not. Okay. So earlier I shared that, you know, wanting to be victorious, right? Wanting to be successful and fully committing to a relationship and showing that it can be done. Again, I think it's related to a mother. Some of you, it's divorce, a broken home type of vibe, because beneath the deck I had the Four of Wands, some hermit, and then I have the Fool for you beneath the deck too, which is fascinating. But the Empress is the mother, you know, she's the beginning, she's the creator. And then the way that it popped out, it was kind of crossing. I confirmed this energy with the Eight of Swords, which kind of gave me this idea of maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, okay? So the Empress, the mother, in some way had an influence on blocking your sense of hope, your sense of possibly freedom too, right? Because the Fool is also another card that popped up beneath your deck. So what's really ironic, and I know this reading is getting kind of deep. This is a really ironic reading because this person wants freedom, for those of you who are connected, and you are wanting things to line up a certain way, which makes them believe that the freedom is not going to be there, but you also value freedom too. It's fascinating what that is, but just in different ways. I don't think you all understand that you're really wanting the same thing. So this mother wound, the challenge that you've had with your mom kind of created a blocked sense of who you are, who you could be. It could have been having a mother who had really harsh or sharp words, getting to a place, Leo, where they were so wounded until the way that they described the potential of love was so harsh and so jaded until you wanted to show that that's not going to be me and that's not love. And so you've been putting in extra work trying to make a relationship work to show that it can, maybe in this connection or maybe just in life. And that's what's led you into this connection. If you're single, same thing. For the single folks who are watching this, Leo, I would say that it's time to go within. You could speak to a trusted person, someone that you trust. This is important because, you know, sometimes you got people around you who want to get all in your business just to have something for later to bring up. I'm not sensing that, but this is just a Shaanism. I'm just wanting to caution you, if you're wanting to communicate with someone about what this is, ensure that it's someone that you know really loves you and would never bring up these things in another situation to hurt or harm you or to embarrass you. That's really important because this is a fragile thing I'm sensing for you. But to be able to go within, seek counseling, have a wise sage talk to you about what a strong foundation, a strong home looks like. It's like having space, spending time addressing what is driving you in your relationship dynamics, and also how you navigate through and power through your relationships, because there's something that has not fully been addressed that can inform a different outcome if it has the time to be highlighted, addressed, and healed. Okay, another card that popped out to confirm this Seven of Pentacles here is the Nine of Cups. And so it kind of feels like you may not want to do this, or maybe you have, but to walk away, to go on this journey of learning about what it is that you really want, who you are, and trusting that can be really, really beneficial. It can create an opportunity for you to address who you are in your dating portrait, if you will, and be free of any old wounds, right, that do not serve you, that's actually leading you into accepting things that might not be truly in your heart, what you really want. Okay, so now for the person that you're dealing with, for those of you who are dealing with someone, if you're not dealing with anyone, then that would probably be all of the reading that you'd need for today. But for those of you who are dealing with someone and you're wanting to know their block, the first thing that popped out is imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. This feels like someone who also kind of has this Eight of Cups. I'm sorry, I think I named this the Nine of Cups earlier. My apologies. The Eight of Cups. They have this aspect of them where they're always wanting to keep themselves available for something greater and better, you know, but they're also being driven by something very interesting too. They have loneliness out here. I know that I am never alone, but whoever this person is, they fear being alone. So while they don't want to be completely locked down in a connection, if they are controlling you in a way, that's another thing that just popped up. If they're controlling you and kind of possessive over you, they have a fear of being lonely or alone. That's another vibe that just popped up. honesty here, and it says, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. This person is also having an experience where there's some deeper stuff going on that they are not willing to address about self-acceptance, what it is that they need and what's driving them. And then we have blame out here, and it says, I accept responsibility for my well-being. There may be some situations that happen in this connection, because you have the 8 of Swords, where there has been arguments, there has been challenges, you know, and they're blaming you, but really what's going on with them has been happening in their life before you even came in their life, okay? So the Fool is the block for them. They always want to be free. You know, it's hard for them to go to the next step in their connections because they have so many layers about control, and it's deep with them. You know, it has something about in the past being controlled by someone, with the Devil being here. It could be that this person has some stuff in the past where they felt so in bondage in their own life, until maybe there has been substances that they've struggled with in the past, but habits and behaviors that have been painful for them. But the truth, I was going to say for Tim, that's interesting. But in the past, though, it has moved them to a point where they're probably on their healing journey, but there's still a lot of fear here, right? Where it says, loneliness, I know that I am never truly alone. You know, these cards for me as a reader, it gives me this vibe that there's still some fear going on with them about being controlled, about going down a path that maybe they were on in the past. They're clear about not wanting anything toxic. They're clear about not wanting to be controlled. In the relationship energy, there is the Gemini card here, and there is the 2 of this is definitely the 2 people here, but this is a 6 energy. That's what I'm trying to get to. So much flooding in. My bad. Thank you, God, angel, spirit guides. This is important because in the connection, this is freedom style commitment. On their end, this is the opposite card of this for me as a reader. This is the freedom that's free, loving, and it's blessed by an archangel. And then this is the connection that is controlling, that is harsh, that is toxic. So whatever is happening right now, if you feel like this person will not make a commitment, that is the fear that they're addressing, that something about getting into a relationship, getting married, moving in together is going to rob them of their freedom in some way. This person's issue, though, another issue that they're struggling with, is having trust, balance, and patience. I'm not sure if they live like kind of like a fast life. Maybe they're very busy. Maybe they travel a lot. It just kind of feels like there could be room for them to slow down, to really get balanced here, because their understanding of what a connection might be is not exactly accurate. It just seems like they have a very dark lens on what it might mean to be in a connection. I don't know if that's just a connection with you, or if this is just who they are. I kind of feel like it's beyond you, Leo. Like this this person struggles with commitment because beneath their deck is the King of Wands. That's a very attractive person. You know, they are an attractive candidate to people, literally in aesthetics. Maybe a charming person. So this person has a hard time with mind-heart coherence and having a balanced idea about what commitment is. Now, it could be childhood stuff, but this feels more like in their past and dating. And you know, it feels like it's more like, okay, well, I do this for a living, and so a commitment might, you know, rob me of my free time to do this. It just feels like thoughts related to what a connection might be that are not exactly accurate, but then still and again, they want somebody. They want someone to be here because they have this fear of loneliness. So it's almost like wanting both worlds. They want to be single, but they also want to be in a relationship, but not too tight. Okay, and they're working through that. My hope is that they become clear about what that is and how to navigate that. But I would say that you all are on separate pages about what you want at this time. Leo, I'm going to get some Archangel Michael cards out here for anyone who needs it. I love these cards because they offer a little bit of a prayer too, because this stuff is not easy to work through, and it could take up a lot of mental and heart space. And I just want to give you something that might help you feel a little bit more settled as you move forward and go along. Thank you, God, angel, spirit guides, for Leo. Loving messages, clear messages for Leo, please. Thank you, God, angel, spirit guides. All right, we have 3 out here. Compromise out here, okay? I kind of feel like that's also for a cross watcher, Leo, for Leo's cross watcher. You know, when it comes to relationships, there has to be give and take. You have all of these choice cards out here, the 2s out here. These are really important cards when it comes to relationship, because you have to decide, you know, am I really going to be able to have it completely my way if I'm trying to build this essence of love with someone else? It's impossible. That's impossible to do. So compromise is the first card out here. In the near future. What this feels like is, in the near future, you're going to be absolutely clear if you're not now. You're working through some different things, Leo, but here pretty soon, you're going to be absolutely clear about if you want to stay in this connection, if you want to stay pushing for this, or maybe going to counseling, working it out with this person. So Spirit wants you to know that do what you can right now, but also continue to live your beautiful life too. It's going to be sorted out the way that it needs to, as long as you're taking action and being committed to the process of only doing what is good for you in your life right now, and it makes sense for you. Focus upon divine and perfect health. This is powerful. It says, God and Archangel Michael, this is the prayer. Thank you for continuously reminding me to focus upon perfect health, and for guiding my actions so that they support my well-being, okay? That is what I have for you, Leo. I love you. I wish you wellness, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.